It's not gonna be a fun video. I had a shitty date last night. This is gonna be like a video of me complaining, basically. Yeah, I had a shitty Hinge date last night. Hinge is like a dating app. Yeah, it went awful. The girl was like way fatter than her pictures. And, she had like almost no personality. And, yeah, it was kind of terrible. But, I mean, I don't feel like a good person or anything saying all that. And I'm not a good person, honestly. I'm a sinner. I asked her for head when we got back to my place, and she refused. And that's fine, I didn't try and force her or anything. But we had been like flirting through the messages, and like she was like flirting with me throughout the night and stuff. And so, anyway, she like said she would give me a hand job, but by the way, I don't feel good saying all this stuff. I'm just trying to be kind of accurate. And then, because that's what these are supposed to be. It's just kind of raw vlogs. And then she seemed uncomfortable, so I took her home. But yeah, I don't know. It just sucks. I took her to dinner. I'm not saying she owed me any kind of like sexual thing or anything, but I did take her to dinner, and then and I cannot tell if my neighbor is staring at me or not. So weird. My neighbor is like up on her balcony. There, she's going in now. She was like craning her head down and like looking over here. Couldn't tell if she was trying to look, see what I was doing, but anyway, I would just say that the whole experience is very depressing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess the sex thing is probably the worst thing, because it's like, I don't know, the whole thing sucks actually. It's not just sex. And I don't just mean sex as in we didn't have sex or she didn't give me head or something like that. What I mean is, like, I don't know how to put it. I would say the worst thing is just like, because you kind of have an expectation in some ways about things being better, and then reality is like so much different. I think a lot of people have that. I'm not trying to say it's just me, but like obviously from her end she probably expected something different, but I don't know, it's just weird because when things actually come to what they are, like the context also matters. So yeah, anyway, sucked. It was a shitty date. I feel stupid too. I mean, I don't really feel stupid for like spending money and taking her out to dinner and stuff and all the small talk and whatever, although there wasn't much. I've been on like a lot of different dates though, and honestly it sucks because it feels like it's like, okay, I don't want to be dating anymore. When you're younger it kind of feels fun, or it can, but when you get older it's not fun anymore and it's just depressing. Literally, it's not it's not fun anymore. Um, and yeah, so that's why I give the advice, like, you know, settle, or not settle down, but find somebody when you're younger. And yeah, in a sense, settle down. That's how people used to do it. The advice nowadays is terrible. It's like, um, the advice is incoherent, and it's like pick your own advice. But in general, um, the general trend is like mess around when you're young, live when you're young, YOLO, go sleep around, go whatever, party, travel, focus on career and everything. And then someday, whatever, when you're older, uh, then you can settle down. Dude, such a scam. Our whole fucking world is like a scam now. Oh my goodness. It's like both funny and sad, but what can you do? It's like you just, I don't know. It's almost like you can't do anything but laugh sometimes. But yeah, no, honestly, legitimately, it was kind of sucked. Like, yeah. But yeah. Anyway, and this girl was like scared too, cause she was talking about how she reads like crime novels, or like watches like murder shows and crime shows, and watches like scary stuff. And some people act like that's like a badge of honor, but it's not. Like, this girl was like scared, and she was like suspicious of everything, and she was just like telling me that she's controlling. And she said that she put on pants for the date, and she was like acting like it was supposed to be some sort of thing to be proud of. She's like, I wish I was in pajamas. I was like, that's the bar now? Putting on pants? That's why people don't even want to take anyone out to eat or anything. And she's like, I didn't even think you were serious. First she's like, I want to get to know you. I was like, okay, let's go on a date. And then she was all weird instantly. And then she's like, when I picked her up, she's like, I didn't even think you were serious. A lot of people ghost. I was like, yeah, I'm serious. I'm here right now. But it just feels like no matter like which way, like, I don't know, it feels like sometimes life, I don't want to sound really depressing or anything, but sometimes life can feel like almost like unwinnable. And what I mean is just like, almost like sometimes when you're interacting with people, it's almost like no matter what you do, it's a fail. Like, it just doesn't work out. And I know I'm just bitching and moaning, but yeah, I don't know. It sucks. Like, legitimately, it does suck. Dating, you know what I mean? Not giving up, but I am saying that it sucks. And I think probably a lot of people could tell you that. But at the same time, you'd be surprised by the situation that a lot of people are in. And you know, if you're married, or if you have a good relationship, you know, that's really a blessing. Seriously, that's a blessing. And yeah, so I'm just gonna keep trying. I don't know about the dating apps. And also, the dating in Canada is pretty cooked. It's pretty cooked. Yeah. It's so cooked, dude. It's like, it's pretty bad. Like, um, yeah. I just feel like, I don't know, it's like society is just what do you call it? It's like it's like low trust or something. It's transferring to low trust. Because like here in Canada, people were polite, and we had this reputation that everybody's polite. But very quickly, um, I guess the politeness got taken advantage of too much, uh, in too many different ways, and also our optimism was used against us, I think, and it switched from optimism to unrealism or delusion pretty quick, and now it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad up here, in my opinion, and I'm kind of comparing it to the way things were uh, 20 years ago or something like that. Like, it's gotten worse since. It's not gotten better. And I know if you say, like, oh, things are bad, someone might pipe up right away and say, oh, but look at how things are in other parts of the world. You have it so great. I understand that, but I'm saying that, like, things are getting worse here. Yeah. 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 I guess on the bright side, I'll look on the bright side a little bit. To that girl's credit, uh, you know, she agreed when I said, because I was talking, I was like trying to share what I believe, because the conversation was like super dry, and she was like super scared and stuff. I was saying like, well, I believe that. I was saying like, do you what do you think about conspiracies? Like, I was saying I believe in conspiracies, some of them. And she was like wondering what I meant, and I said, well, I think COVID was a scam. And she agreed, so I was like, to her credit, she wasn't like a raging liberal or something, or I don't know, but I don't know, it's just tough to sort of like vibe with people in a way. But yeah. And then another silver lining, or on the bright side thing, is that I did go on a date, which is important, I think. I think it's important to actually like do stuff and go out and keep trying, even though it's hard, obviously. But if what's that? It's the lyrics by Avicii. He says, "Love is a game, and love is the prize." No, if life is a game, love is the prize. Something like that. So, yeah, if you're gonna live life and play the game, I don't love describing it like that, but I get the metaphor. If you're gonna live life and play the game, then love is the prize. So I gotta keep going out asking for people to hang out and go on dates and stuff. And I probably shouldn't. I gotta work on the sex stuff, because it's really difficult, honestly, and it's like an ugly topic. But I always try to address it, because there's so many men, I think, that, and women too, and just people in general, that are really horny. And I know it's like it's a funny or sensitive or embarrassing topic, but it's true. Like, people have sexual desire, but it's like society's warped it now, because like porn, and it's like everything's over sexualized, movies and everything, and TV and video games, and so it plays on our primitive brain, or primitive parts of our brain, or the parts of our brain that want sex. And like for me, I was exposed to porn at like age 5. Like, dude, that's so early. So messed my brain up, that's for sure. I like don't think my brain is normal. Like, I'm not trying to like condemn myself, I'm just trying to be accurate in a sense. And I don't love self-diagnosis and everything because it gets weird and people love to self-diagnose as well. But I do think like um, just with everything I've gone through in my life and been through, all the sex-related issues, trauma in the family, concussions, bullying at school, you know, porn addiction throughout my life, so embarrassing. Like masturbating throughout my life, again, so embarrassing. Yesterday after the date, I came home and I was like trying to just go to bed, but I felt awful. And I did watch porn and I did masturbate, and it's like so embarrassing and so horrible. And again, it's like, then it's like now warped even further because now the conversation is like gooning and cooming, and it's like it's warped seriously because now literally on YouTube and stuff there's like I mean it's really crazy how things are because it's so pick your own reality now, and it's offered to everybody at such a early age and all throughout their life. And I think it's like, yeah, that's why say things are like in different realities, because you can really like pick your own reality for good or for ill, and it kind of, in some sense, it can make you feel kind of crazy, but yeah, I don't know. I just think the cohesion has been degraded a lot, and yeah. Anyway, sorry, I sound so depressing right now. I understand that, but I really do feel pretty down. And yeah, I was gonna say something else. Oh yeah, okay. Another thing that's like another depressing thing. So kind of depressing. I don't know. It's more like a setback, but again, it is. Things are all reality. But so I was working on this book idea, and this is something that bothers me so much. Just this kind of topic, thinking about the future. It's so stressful. Seriously. Thinking about money, finances, success, career, all that stuff is really stressful. Seriously. But so I was writing this book, and basically I made this idea, but I basically borrowed like some. All I did was really put together some concepts. So one of the concepts, the main concept, really, it's kind of the main concept, although I might be able to change it a bit, but it's like trademarked and copyrighted because I was looking it up. It's the map of consciousness. I was looking it up, and it's like really heavily trademarked and copyrighted and protected by the publisher, David R. Hawkins, publisher. And I was like, dang, because it says like you can't reproduce it and you can't use it or something. And I really don't know a lot about copyright law or anything like that. I just know that when I was in university, you had to be really careful about citation, and they were always like talking about plagiarism. And it was always a tricky thing too, because if you've ever done a research paper or anything like that, it's like somebody has already said what you want to say. And this is like a concept I think a lot of people don't even realize. Maybe it's the Dunning-Kruger effect, but it's like everything that you want to say or have thought about or are thinking about, 99.9% of the time, it's unoriginal. It may be original to you, and feels original, and then you go and talk to somebody about it, but it's like you're just a small fish leaving your small fish tank and going into a bigger fish tank most of the time. And that's like how hard it is to come up with something original. And if you really do want to come up with something original or do original research or something, it can get pretty difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible. There are original research topics, but you have to go down the lane of like, catching up basically to the current state of the literature of knowledge, which does require years in university or years of research, years of reading, talking to many people, and then your ideas, you basically like coalesce existing ideas and build on them. That's like the whole thing about science. It's like Newton said, I think it was Newton, he said that I only see so far because I stand on the shoulders of giants. Those giants just keep getting taller. So, anyway, my point about this is that I put together, I like had this idea. I know it's not like a fully original idea. I just put together narrative theory with the map of consciousness essentially, and then put support for it and talked about like a story arc. But the map of consciousness is trademarked and copyrighted. So I don't know what I'm gonna do about that exactly. Yeah. I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. Because the thing is that it says on there, so like now I'm thinking like, what should I do? Because I don't want to like quote unquote usurp or undermine his work, but I really like appreciate his work. But then how am I supposed to use it? Because now it's like saying like basically just go to his books. So I don't know, because I do think I kind of have somewhat of an original, I don't even know if it's that original, but I have like at least a niche or unique take in a sense about it. It's more like I'm just expanding on it really. I don't know, I'm still figuring all this stuff out. All the ideas are still churning. But yeah, my main goal is like, how can I put this idea out there? Because I would like to make like a living off of it. But then again, maybe that's the reason it's copyrighted. It's like nobody can use my ideas for personal gain. I'm really thinking about it. I'm not sure. And again, this is the thing I'm trying to say is like, a lot of these ideas, they're not fully original. Like, I don't know how to put it really. I'm still thinking about it. I don't know. It's tough, really. It's tough. I don't know. I do not know. I guess I'll have to keep thinking about it, keep mulling over. I guess the goal, once again, is to help people. So when I was like 20, like this is like 10 years ago, I was like 19, turning 20, or I had just turned 20, and I just got this job. I was working, making airplane parts at an airplane factory, and I thought it was a good job, and it was a good job, honestly. But the thing is that all my friends, and they were all saying like, they were all kind of like making fun of me low-key. We used to say this term like throwing shade, or it was like a really stupid term, but they'd say sneak diss. It was like a diss is like a disservice, and you were doing it sneakily, so you'd sneak diss somebody, and it was just kind of like underhanded stuff. But that stuff went on all the time, and it was just like, so I had this job, And then I was always looking at all this like personal development stuff. I just had a curiosity. And then um, I was like I was kind of like thinking of like what could I keep doing, you know? Because I was working at this job, and I was going to the gym, and I was trying to date, and I was also trying to think like, because people were like putting it down, and no one was like making it seem good. Some people might have been, but no one had like, no one like cast a future. There was like no future. That's what it felt like, no future. No one said that what you do next is you buy a house, you get married, you have children, like, and that you can, you know, keep growing stuff, you can save money, you can do all this stuff. It all felt extremely hard, extremely out of reach. Everybody was like tearing at it or it down, what I was doing. And it just made me feel more and more desperate. Like, it made me feel more and more like alone and like almost like out there crazy, because I was trying to be ambitious. I was trying to pursue things. And so, like bigger things, and, or at least what I felt were to be bigger things. And that's because it felt like that's what the push was. To just be like so amazing, so awesome, so great. No one really says what exactly that's supposed to look like. And so, I was watching these like videos, like personal development videos, and specifically by like actualize.org, but others as well. Coach Corey Wayne. I don't know if I got into him. I might have been into him at the time, but he's like a dating coach, but also like a life coach. And I told my friend I want to be a life coach, and I kind of had this idea, like kind of stuck in my head, like why can't I do this? You know, I could life coach people. And it was partly because I saw that everybody around me was like really had all these constant issues. I didn't realize really that they were kind of like cyclical, and what was all behind them. There's all these psychological reasons and everything, and other reasons as well, chemical and, you know, diet, environment. But I would say to my friend, I want to be a life coach. Like, I want to help people. And my friend was like laughing at me. He was making fun of me, and then he would wait until I did something that was like seemed goofy or seemed bad, and then he would make fun of me again. And this was like one of my closest friends, seriously. And it's like, dude, what the heck? That old lady's back out there having a cigarette, and she's like keeps leaning over and looking this way. It's honestly kind of weird. You can kind of maybe see her. It's like a purple. She's on her balcony. Looks like directly into my yard, and my window looks directly into her balcony. But anyway. Oh man, life fucking sucks sometimes. I guess like 80% of life kind of sucks. It's not really, I don't really know if it's supposed to be great all the time. But we've been marketed to that it's supposed to be fantastic, awesome, and kick ass all the time. And nobody really likes you unless you, at least it feels like no one likes you, unless you are like happy all the time, make them feel good. But anyways, my friend was making fun of me, and yeah, that stung. That stung. And then but I did kind of have some people who were supportive, but then I don't know, it just got more and more desperate, and then I got sucked into like some scam. And this is kind of the thing too with people who have experienced a lot of trauma or whatever, and or maybe who are ambitious as well, but very vulnerable to scams and stuff like that, because it's like you kind of want something more, like you want you're kind of like hopeful, and but in a sense you're kind of naive as well, innocent maybe in a way, but also wanting something, and maybe almost like craving or desiring something more. And those are not bad things, I don't think, but it can get taken advantage of. And so at work, I was working at this airplane place, and there was this black guy, and I thought he was pretty cool, not just because he was black, but because he seemed kind of alright. And I don't even know how or what, but we're talking about, it was just kind of like a wink and a nod about like side hustle stuff. And he said, I'll put you in touch with my guy. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, I got a guy. I'll hook you up. What's your Facebook? And like, so he put me in touch with a scammer. Of course, I didn't know it was a fucking scammer at the time. Excuse my language. But this guy is a scammer. And he just ran courses and stuff. And basically it was just like mastery course or something like that. And it cost like $1,000. And if you're a mark, like I was, that's what they call them, marks. They may not use that language, but it's basically clients, customers, conversions, marks, whatever. I know the language now, but if you're naive and you have like big ideas and you're kind of seeing tunnel vision and you're like, man, this is an opportunity. Wow. This is like things are lining up. And then it's like, this guy's like, gets you on Facebook and he's talking to you one-on-one. He's asking, and dude, they're so scammy and so slimy. They like ask you about what you're interested in. They ask you about your ideas. They ask you about what you want your future to be. And you're saying you're like excited and someone's finally interested and someone's finally supportive. And you're saying like, yeah, I would like to be a life coach. I watch all these videos, like I'm interested in psychology, I'm interested in personal development, I'm interested in helping people, I want to, improve people's lives. And they're like, wow, that's awesome, wow, okay, wow, amazing, yeah, I knew guys like that, oh, I know guys like that are making great money and they're helping a lot of people, and, they just flew to Bali, and I just got back from Bali, and literally it's like this. And then they're like, oh, and you're somebody we would say that is switched on. And it's like, dude, it's a fucking scam. And then he's like, yeah, I can help. And and they use kind of like, it's like a funnel. They walk you down the steps and they use language that funnels you toward the sale. And they just keep doing that with more people. It's a fucking scam. It's a system. It's a sales system. They want leads. They want more people to come in. They want like 100 people. They want 1,000 different people. They want to go through like 1,000 different people, and then they have like a calculation. We'll get 10% warm leads. We'll get out of that 2% conversion, 1% conversion, 1% sales. That's literally how it is. That's how they think. And they don't give a fuck about all the words, about what they say. They don't care. They're just trying to make the money, do the course, and continue doing it more. And scale it up. And it's just like, dude, it's such a scam. But naive young people don't realize this. So anyways, I paid like $1,000, and I remember feeling horrible about it. But at the same time, it's like a nervousness, and it's like, it's a confusion as well, because it's like, well, if I pay this $1,000, they're telling you that it comes back to you, that you can make so much more, that they're going to add so much value, that they're going to 10x your profits, 10x, or help build your idea, or help transform you. They have all this stuff, like they talk about this stuff, and again, they're all just using scam stuff. and it's just about money and greed and stuff. But they just put it into the grinder and they're turning the wheel. You know, hopes, dreams, ambitions, everything, energy, and they're grinding it, and then out pops money, and then they don't really give too much of a shit about you. And then I paid this $1,000, and I went to this course. It was like a master class or a mastery or something. And basically what it is, it's like a hodgepodge of other people's life coach stuff with their own flavor and their own variation on it. And it's such a scam. And other people have been scammed before. Some people will understand, but they really have you looped in, and then it's like, yeah, it's just stupid. And then we went and met at like it was like me and how many people were there? It was $1,000 each. There was me, one other guy, and then I think a couple. And I think that the one other guy was like the nephew I think he was like the nephew of the couple, and the couple was like older. And I think the guy was like a business owner for something. I don't even know. And he was like one of these like sales business guys from like that you would imagine that sits on Shark Tank, but he was not quite there yet, or Dragon's Den. He was not like at that level. And then the woman was like, I think she was like a 911 dispatcher or something at a previous point, but now she was getting into some kind of sales. And then the guy, the young guy, he was like, I don't even remember, but he wanted to do like a barber business or something like that. And then me, I wanted to do like a life coach business. And we just sat through, it was just like, again, it was like a seminar, training, whatever. And they bring in like a guest speaker, and it's like one of their sales buddies, and who runs some other kind of like sales coaching, selling courses business. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I before I paid the $1,000, because it didn't happen right away, they organized, it's funny because they organized like an event at like a nice restaurant downtown. And some of these nice restaurants have like almost like semi-private or private rooms with like a big table for large amounts of people, like banquet area or something. And they like rent that or get that, and then they just bring in a bunch of people like me who are kind of like their marks or their scam targets. And then they kind of are doing all this stuff to make it seem more real, make it seem more professional. And for me, like, I was young, I didn't know like what the heck was going on. And there's this level of trust and naivety and almost like innocence, I guess, but fear and anxiety and everything. And then I go in there, and it's like they wear suits, they wear ties. Or actually, the guy, he was like this, he wore like these flamboyant shirts. And again, it's like, these are more like, a lot of this shit, it's all just like hacking, social hacking or whatever. They wear he wears the colorful flamboyant shirts so that he sticks out in your mind and you remember him and something like this. And he was doing it with his girlfriend, and she was like kind of creepy too, because she was like very like sales, like, and she was like kind of had this like freaky way about her. And now I know what a lot of what they were doing was like, they call it frame control. But yeah, it's all just like a scam. And it's all to get more more sales. And like yeah, and they actually like low-key kind of like, they make you feel stupid, and they kind of I wouldn't say they make fun of you, but they do kind of make you feel stupid. Because if you bring up, and again, they learn this stuff, it's like objections, they're like, oh, this is an objection, I just have to do whatever to twist it into a yes or something, because you bring up objections, they call it, but like your own questions about like, okay, like, is this legit, like what's gonna happen next, like what do I do? And then they just like hold frame, and then they're like, oh, that's so funny, that's so silly, and you were so nervous earlier, and you were just asking like, what's my favorite color? That's so weird, like. And it's like, because you don't understand what's going on, you think like you're having a conversation with normal people in a sense, although that they're trying to like help you out. Maybe there's the naivety, right? There's no free lunch, I guess. I don't know, but that's where people lose their trust. But so I went to this weird thing, and it was just like at a restaurant, and then at some point, like, everybody will be talking, and then they get up, and like different people will get up, and then they'll have like a little small speech, and then their friends will clap, and like everybody else kind of like claps along, sort of, and they're just kind of walking you along, and then they say stuff that kind of sounds true, you know what I mean? And that's the hard part about it. The tricky part is because they use parts of stuff that sounds true, but their motivation is like, the real motivation is just to make more money, and sell you stuff. And that's where it gets kind of scammy, But, yeah. Anyway, and then I went to the course, and the course, it's like, it slowly falls apart, like, in your head, and you get more and more desperate, too, because it's not actually helping you solidify or start or do anything or get anything going, and it's feeling less and less real, and there's more and more panic and anxiety about, like, the future, and you're questioning everything. And then I remember near the end, and I wouldn't say that all of it is like useless, quote unquote useless information. It's just, I don't know, they're just like grabbing a bunch of other stuff, throw it together in a booklet, have this like scam conference seminar, and then they say other stuff like, oh, we'll sweeten the deal by giving you 3 personal coaching sessions with one of us. And they're using like tons of shit. And then they say like, oh, and you're getting it, it's like a $3,000 value, you're getting it for $1,000. It's like, bro, like, I'm the retard for going to this. And yeah, so, but I guess I am retarded because I got scammed by this. Although I think I was just like, yeah, vulnerable or naive. And then also another thing I gotta add, it's very important. You don't tell anybody. That's part of the scam, is that, or part of getting scammed, I think. Because on a certain level, I didn't want to tell anybody. I was waiting until there was results. Then I could be like, yeah, look, I'm making a lot of money now. I have this to back up what I did. And I was like doing this stuff thinking that like, okay, it will pay off. But as the payoff was getting more and more like illusory and like fading into mist, and it was seeming more and more like it was like just all BS, I was feeling more and more ashamed. And then later, after the course and everything, the guy did like he texted me to like say, how's it going? And again, they don't really care. The reason they do this stuff is they actually have a schedule. They put it in their schedule, follow up with X client after a number of days. And they literally do this as part of like a scheduling thing, and to keep you as a client, to see if they can put you on their next sales conversion or whatever course. And I said to the guy, it's not working, and I just feel ashamed. And I think he just didn't even respond. And yeah, so, but I was trying actually. And I think I remember at this point I was talking to these people in Florida, and I was like interested in all this like consciousness stuff. I was talking to these people, and I went down to Florida. I can't remember if this was before or after I got scammed. I think it might have been before. I can't even fully remember. It was all in 2017 around the summer. But I was down in Florida, and I'm from Canada, and I was meeting up with these people online to do like this like consciousness channel stuff. And the girl's brother, because I was staying at her house for like, I don't even remember how long, like a little bit, and it was kind of weird, honestly. And I was like sleeping on the couch, and the girl's brother, he was like a really nice guy actually. He was a legit guy. He just like seemed kind of like dorky a little bit, but he was nice. And I put him as one of my life coaching clients. Like he was my first, I think he was my first and only client, and I was trying to life coach him, but it was so hard. It was so hard. And this is something I've learned over years is that actually helping people, so hard. So hard. It can be so hard, seriously. Legitimately helping people can be really hard. I do think it's possible, but again, I always say that prayer is necessary. And actually, this guy, he was more, I don't know about advanced, but he was more on the right track than I was. And at the time, I would have never said that because it sounds ridiculous. And at the time, I didn't even probably believe that. But he was a Christian, and he was talking about wanting to read the Bible more and be more in God's Word and stuff like this. And at the time, I wasn't, I think I wasn't practicing. I wasn't a practicing Christian. And so, yeah, he was more like advanced than I was. But I tried life coaching him, and yeah, we didn't really get anywhere, and we only did like a few, and I couldn't stomach, or I couldn't work it up to ask for money. I just didn't feel, like it didn't feel right, you know what I mean, to ask for money. And yeah, so anyway, that's my long story. It's my long depressing story. Dude, I have so many depressing stories, and I just don't even want to share them. Although I want to share them, but it's like hard to, because I just don't want to get people down. But it's like, I feel like that's reality, and I feel like talking about reality is like almost uplifting in a sense. The thing I think that's good is that sharing stories like that, it kind of can help other people in a sense through a negative example. It's like a cautionary tale. I'm not a huge fan of cautionary tales, but I do think they have some merit when there are scammers out there. There are people that are traumatized, that get traumatized, that are vulnerable, that do feel desperate, that do want to improve their life, that are watching a lot of self-development, personal development, that are reading the books, that are trying to do the work, that are trying to maintain the routines, do the habits, do all of these different things, and that do feel alone, and that do feel like nobody wants to listen to them, and nobody understands what they're trying to do and wants to do it with them, and realizes that there's a benefit, that people can enjoy this stuff together. It's like people just feel really alone, and they feel embarrassed, and they feel like it's hard and that they're in a hole. And yeah, it's tough. And there's so many scammers out there. So many scammers out there. You know what I always found funny or something about scammers or course sellers is that a lot of times their main income is actually just selling the course. they actually like they make a lot of money off of just selling courses and just being salespeople, and they make it seem like it's from other stuff, that they're getting all this money from other stuff. But it's from you. And then when they teach you how to be successful, they're basically just teaching you how to be a scammer. Dude. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh. That's tough. That's tough. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I got a lot of problems, but I also feel like the world has a lot of problems. And I'm not trying to wallow in it together, but I do feel like it's true. Like, I feel like the world has a lot of problems. And I think a lot of people know that, obviously, but yeah, it's hard for, at least for me, I think for a lot of people, to acknowledge or admit that we have a lot of problems, or that we've done wrong, or that we're still doing wrong, and that the future maybe will do more wrong. And that's hard, honestly, to do, to think about and to live with. Yeah. So I don't know. Today I don't feel great. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I should probably get back to my routine. And again, I'm trying to think about the future, just like, what am I gonna do? Like, should I start? I don't know, because I would like to make money, obviously, but just to make a living and to be like secure, like financially, I guess. But also, I want like a family, and I want community and all this. But it's I don't like complaining, but it's really hard. Like, everything is tough. This modern age. Everything feels like it's kind of like going to shit. Sucks, dude. It sucks. So anyways, that's all.